It seems like the more time that passes and the more new games that come out, more people wake up and realize that we had a pretty good back in the day, honestly, when it came to, NES, SNES, and the Game Boy. It seems like a lot of people are getting very, very annoyed when it comes to having to be online all the time for single player games now. And honestly, I don't blame them. With the current climate of having to download your games even though you buy them as a physical copy, it's starting to get very, very grating. And it seems like the Guardian put out a article that does, line up with that fact. Saying, there's no stress, gamers go offline in retro console revival. Trend to fix or buy consoles such as Game Gear and Nintendo 64s may reflect a desire for internet-free fun. Which, yes, honestly, things were just a lot better when, didn't have to be online all the time. But granted, things were better before social media as a whole, anyways. But, let's continue. Nestled between an original Donkey Kong arcade machine, a mint condition outrun racing simulation game, and booths wired up with GameCubes and Nintendo 64s, the engineer Luke Malpass works away dismantling a broken Nintendo Wii. There has been a steady stream of people bringing in their old game consoles for repairs or modifications. On the house to four quarters, a retro game arcade in Elephant and Castle, which has been transformed into a games clinic for 2 days. Gabriella Rosenow, age 35, has brought in her broken Wii that has been in the garage for years. Quote, I still play my brother's old Nintendo 64 and I love it, but I'd really love to get the Wii fixed. I've done the odd bit of Call of Duty and the PlayStation stuff, but I have more of an interest in the retro games, she adds. Okay, being 35 years old, you don't have to call it retro. You could just say, games of my childhood. Or, hey, the old games, please. You don't have to call it retro. It wasn't that long ago, I swear. Oh, it hurts. It hurts to think about. Ugh. Rose now is part of a growing community who are ditching contemporary video games and picking up consoles from their childhood or even before their time. And Gen Z gamers are following suit, with 24% owning a retro console, according to research by Pringles. Now, thinking about it, I don't know how many retro consoles are out there, still in circulation and still functioning. I'm pretty sure that most Gen Zers are using, those handheld emulation machines that can store about like 200 to 500 like old retro games in the palm of their hand. At least that's what I've been noticing when people are like, oh my god, look at this retro game I'm playing. And they're just holding up a nice little LED screen of a mini handheld that's supposed to look like a Game Boy. But granted, I can't knock them for actually wanting to play some good games. What started as a passion project for Malpass restoring consoles to their former glory quickly evolved into a full-time business. At its peak during lockdown, his company Retro 6 employed 16 people to cope with demand. He put this down, in part, to people being stuck at home. People were bored finding things at home and searching for things online. We originally were just selling on eBay, but we didn't have a site, and eBay was limiting our sales because they thought it was fraudulent, he says. It literally took over. Retro 6 still gets hundreds of requests each month from people hoping to get their consoles fully working and playable or upgraded. This has I apologize. This has stabilized, Malpass says, though the community is still expanding. There's a whole variety of people who are in this now. The older than me generation, so sort of late 40s, early 50s, who tend to be PC based with Amigas and I'm bad at pronouncing things, I apologize. Commodores, I believe. Then my age, so people in their 30s who are very much into Game Boys, the Mega Drives, Super Nintendo, entertainment systems, things like that. And then there's a younger generation that are either into the Nintendo DS, things they played with that are starting to become retro, or they're just really obsessed with retro as a whole. So you do get people in their 20s that are more obsessed than we are, even though they didn't grow up with it, he says. Honestly, a lot of quote unquote retro things are starting to, be seen as trendy again. Like, I've noticed a lot of styles from when I was in elementary school is starting to come back, including, what are they called? Boot jeans. Boot jeans are starting to come back into fashion. I've seen some, low-rise jeans starting to come back into fashion. Well, at least what modern day teens are just trying to consider low-rise jeans, but they're just mid-rise. As soon as they see what low-rise jeans actually are, they're horrified. Never wear low-rise jeans, everybody. Anyways, let's continue. Malpass has amassed a large following on social media and has 61,700 subscribers on his YouTube channel, Angel6, and 44,100 followers on Retro6's TikTok, where he shares videos about repairs and his inventions with the community. The young people who engage online say they are searching for retro games because of the distinctive gameplay and for the chance to switch off, Malpass says. Because, yeah, honestly, too many online games and, being constantly exposed to the slop that we call AAA game experiences now, kind of need a break every once in a while. It's like, nobody wants politics in their games. They want escapism. And that's what old games were for us, was an escape. Wasn't long, but it was good fun. I have so many memories just getting lost in games. Let's see. Okay. You turn your console on at the top, you're gaming. There's no stress, there's no internet, you're not competing against the world. You've got yourself in a game, and you feel a sense of achievement as you're going, and that was originally what you used to do. I think younger generations have a lot more stress now. Growing up, the social media world is mentally very challenging. Retro video gaming is their safe place. It's like their escape, he says. Again, escapism. People do not want to deal with real-life politics in their video games unless, there's political conflict in said video game. But then you are choosing to play a game like that. It's like, I don't want real-life politics in my game of Skyrim. Yes, I will deal with the politics in there because there's cool-ass dragons and I can shout. That's cool. I don't want, say a Trump against Biden mod in my game at all. No. If I wanted that, I would just go to Twitter. I apologize. I would just go to Twitter if I wanted to see real-life politics. But unfortunately, with the modern day gaming, people, in terms of, what used to be during the Biden administration, was very incentivized on putting real life politics, gender politics, stuff like that into their games. Hopefully we'll see a change in pace, but not going to hold my breath until we actually start seeing some of these changes go into effect. Where was it? Okay. Matthew Dolan, a software developer in his 40s, brought along parts of his Game Gear console. His passion for retro gaming and technology stems from nostalgia and childhood memories, playing games his father had written for him on the BBC Micro. I've never heard of that one before. Must be a European thing. It was a great introduction to technology, he says. You get all the joy from just literally playing it, going through batteries, planning your long car journeys out based on how long they'll last, he says. They're not relying on flashy graphics the same way as contemporary games. Going one step further, Dolan now fixes and adapts consoles himself. It says he spent 7,000 euros on the hobby last year. I got some of that back from selling things on, but it's not cheap. He got stuck trying to repair some of the chips on his Game Gear and needed Malpass's expertise. I apologize. A repaired Prestige Edition Game Gear console from Retro 6 cost €298. The LED edition costs €334, and mods or servicing on the console starts at $36. Yeah, it's expensive. It's like, okay. When I go to the flea market in my area and stuff, they have a section where people sell way too overpriced like old game stuff and everything. Like I seen a game for the SNES be priced at like $200. It is ridiculous. It's like, and plus half the time you can't even tell if they're fake or not until you pop it in at home, but then you can't refund it. What are you gonna do? Who are you gonna complain to? That was you taking that risk. And then the popular retro consoles, the Game Boy, SNES, the original Xbox, the Amiga, and the Game Gear. It's like, I think we are going to continue seeing a trend like this in terms of people wanting to go back to the basics. Going back to games where they can have fun for fun's sake. And honestly, until modern day games start improving, leaves the politics out, stops with the messaging, stops with all of this modern bullshit, people are going to continue to go back to old games. And yes, you can get the games on Steam as well if they've had, like, a remaster or they were released on Steam or GOG or anything like that. But a lot of people just do not want to be at their computers anymore, which, again, is understandable. And I just hope that this signal will become large enough that game devs will notice. We have some good games that have come out lately, such as Stellar Blade, which is getting its PC port later this year. Even though this is a hot button issue, but Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and the first Kingdom Come Deliverance game, both very good. You could get lost in the game for hours just doing side quests. So that's not bad either. There's so many good games. There's so many indie games that are out there that are just hidden. You have to find them. So it's just one of those things that as the games are changing, as the current climate in gaming is changing, it's a wait and see type of thing. And hopefully game devs will get the picture that, hey, we don't want this modern day political bullshit in our games anymore. All we can do is wait, see, hope, and pray. But thank you for joining me, everybody, and I will see you guys next time. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Bye.